Hey KU fans, welcome back to another episode of KU Sports Extra for the final time from Allen Fieldhouse this season. KU 73, Oklahoma 63 in another thrilling game. I mean, they played terrible for 32 minutes and then turned it on at the end to pull out a victory.
Outscored them 31-8 down the stretch.
9 actually.
31-9.
Yeah, but I mean, my gosh, to be trailing 12 by 12 and then to win by 10 is just incredible. And it was senior night and it had all that emotion and all the fanfare that goes with that. But I got to tell you, this was one of my favorite senior nights ever, simply because I love covering this team. They're so much fun to watch. They're so full of talent. They bring so much excitement to the game. And as Self pointed out after the game, they flip that switch. And when they do, it's really hard for anybody to beat them.
With more confidence than any team I can remember,
Yeah.
though. And Frank Mason, I've loved watching him for 4 years. I don't think I've ever seen anyone grow so much in 4 years as you've seen Frank Mason do, and you knew he had it when he got here as a freshman. Here's a guy who just does everything he possibly can to give himself a chance at a really, really good life, and I hope he gets that really, really good life.
Easy guy to root for, as is Landon Lucas, another guy who's just, I mean, I got the sense when I was watching the pregame stuff, they throw the flowers at their feet and they take pictures and their mom and dad are out there on the floor with them and all that. And you really got the sense that this could be the last of its kind. The era's changing. There may be 4-year guys that come through again, and there obviously will be, but I don't know that they'll ever have the impact that those two guys did and get so much and just squeeze everything out that they've got and leave it all here. It was a really cool scene, and I thought the whole night was cool, but the game was just fantastic.
Yeah, you never want to say never, though.
Right.
I mean, because they develop very well here. First of all, they judge talent well. Frank Mason is a great example. Curtis Townsend saw him kicking the butts of really good players, one after another, including Cat Barber, who went to North Carolina State. And, Curtis knows a player when he sees one. He was a Division I player. His brother played for UCLA, one of John Wooden's great teams. Curtis has been huge on this team. When you look at Frank Mason, Landon Lucas, and Josh Jackson. Yeah, he was the lead recruiter on all three of those guys. How's that for a haul?
Pretty good.
Yeah, not bad.
That's a pretty good trio right there. Devontae Graham, the other part of that trio, was lights out down the stretch. I mean, he just decided he was going to make a bunch of shots at the end.
3 3-pointers and a 157
Love
span.
it. And nobody's better at making them and then showing how much fun he had than that guy.
Yeah.
He stands, he poses, he rocks back and opens his mouth and smiles. I mean, Frank Mason will hit a big shot and he'll just run back and play defense. Graham does his best to get the crowd into it, and that crowd was huge.
And they both love the game
Yeah.
equally, but just in different ways do they show it. But
Yeah, right, exactly.
it's been a blast watching those two play together. And and Gerald Vick is coming out.
Sure.
Right as Svi is slumping, he's really coming out.
Made all 3 of his 3-pointers,
Yeah,
11 points, 4
huge.
rebounds. Yeah, and he's in a nice spot, too. He comes in, and there's very little pressure on him. He can just play ball, and he had a couple big moments tonight for sure.
That's their best lineup when you have, Vick
right
in
now
there.
especially. I thought that this was a cool game because there wasn't anything on the line but pride and the senior night and not losing on senior night. And they could have very easily just kind of gone through the motions, and for a while they did, but
And maybe it's good that happened.
Sure.
'Cause that tells them it can happen in the second round.
Yeah, great point.
You do that in the second round and you don't have the great comeback, the shots don't fall, and you can lose.
Right. It just seemed like a perfect ending to this season at home for this team. This is what they did all year. Anybody that expected this to be anything other than a tough game was probably fooling themselves and obviously dead wrong, because Oklahoma came to play as they have all year against everybody in the Big 12. All these games have been so tough. all the Big 12 teams playing each other. They've all been like this, and this was just another one. So perfect ending for this team this season in this conference.
And a great summary of Frank Mason's career, really, finishing so strong.
Yeah.
He finished so strong in
Yeah.
this game. And, you know, Carlton Bragg had a play that was a great summary of his season in that it had so much potential because he was there at the rim ready to dunk it, and you just saw long arms, pretty good bounce to him.
This is going to be fun, you think?
All alone, you're thinking, yeah, this is really going to be something. And then just fell short the way the season has it. Got blocked by the front of the rim, and he ended up on his back. But he did get up, and he had 5 rebounds and a steal, so he hustled.
A little more Samuel L. Jackson than Josh Jackson on that one, with all due respect to Samuel L.
Maybe Samuel L. can
do
dunk
better than that.
Hey, Prince was an unbelievable
That's
dunker.
a good point. That's a
late
good
great.
point. All right, well, 1 game left in the regular season at Stillwater. What are you focused on, or what are you looking for from this team down the stretch?
Well, at this point, I think they're going to be a number 1 seed, even if they lost out.
I think so too, yeah.
So what I'm looking for is more of the same from LeGerald Vick.
Right.
And if he gives more of the same, then his minutes will increase.
Right.
And who knows, maybe it's time to give him a start Saturday, see how that would work, and see if that would shake Svi, and maybe Svi's better coming off the bench.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's something worth watching, though, for sure, because that dynamic's really interesting. This team is obviously winning. So why mess with it? That could be one theory. And I did think Svi, you know, he took open shots. He had a big-time drive to the rim where he finished left-handed at a time where this offense was doing next to nothing. I mean, he wasn't completely worthless out there by any means.
I didn't think he was very good.
He doesn't look by any means the same as he did when he was playing really well. But I think Self said it after a recent game, and I think you saw it a little bit tonight. Even though he's not performing, putting up stats, finishing with nice lines, he's still aggressive, and that's important for this offense because they've got to have that out of that position so that those other guys can do what they do.
He could be more aggressive on the boards. He didn't have a rebound or an assist. So it wasn't a good night. He's got to shake out of it because they're going to need him hitting shots.
No question about it. 73-63 Kansas over Oklahoma on senior night. That's a wrap for Allen Fieldhouse. And from here, it gets really fun. We'll talk to you guys soon on another episode of KU Sports Extra.